Kyoto Protocol, the adoption of the Framework Convention on Climate Change (UNFCCC) in 1992 was a major step forward in tackling the problem of global warming. Yet, as greenhouse gases (GHG) emission levels continued to rise around the world, it became increasingly evident that only a firm and binding commitment by developed countries to reduce emissions could send a signal strong enough to convince business, communities, and individuals to act on climate change. Member countries of the UNFCCC therefore began negotiations on a protocol, an international agreement linked to the existing treaty but standing on its own. The protocol shares the objective and institution of the convention. The major distinction between the two, however, is that while the convention encouraged developed countries to stabilize GHG emissions, the protocol commits them to do so. The Kyoto Protocol is considered to be the most far-reaching agreement on environment and sustainable development ever adopted. However, any treaty not only has to be effective in tackling a complicated worldwide problem, it must also be politically acceptable. Most of the world's countries eventually agreed to the protocol. The Kyoto Protocol entered into the force on 16th February 2005. The protocol requires developed countries to reduce their GHG emissions below levels specified for each of them in the treaty. These targets must be met within a 5-year time frame between 2008 and 2012, and adds up to a total cut in GHG emission of at least 5% against the baseline of 1990. Without the enforcement of these commitments are carried out by United Nations-based bodies. The protocol places a heavier burden on developed nations under the principle of common but differentiated responsibilities. This has two main reasons. Firstly, those countries can more easily pay the cost of cutting emissions. Secondly, developed countries have historically contributed more to the problem by emitting larger amounts of GHGs per person than in developing countries.